Okay, folks, first a little background. Before I read this article, I want to tell you about, a little background here. I live in the state of Kentucky, and the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is one of my senators. And everybody says, well, Democrats and Republicans ain't no different. They're all just in there screwing us. And we need to boot out all of them, get new blood in there. So I'm actually going to do that. Most people won't. Most people will still vote for their Democrat or their Republican, even though they run their mouth. But anyway, this guy here, Matt Bevin, he lives in Louisville. He lives in the South End, I believe, here near me. And he's kind of a libertarian, Tea Party kind of guy, states' rights, that kind of stuff. And I was highly considering voting for him in a primary against Mitch McConnell. I doubt if he could beat Mitch in the primary, but at least my conscience would be clean. So, anyway, today I open up the paper, and this is what I see. Bevin, rally focus with states' rights, not cockfighting, by Joseph Girth, reporter for the Courier-Journal. U.S. Senate candidate Matt Bevin took part in a rally Saturday planned to support the legislation of cockfighting in Kentucky. Bevin's campaign, however, described the event at the Corbin Arena in Corbin, Kentucky as a states' rights rally and said that Bevin, who is challenging U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell in the Republican primary in May, didn't know that it had any ties to cockfighting. It was not a cockfighting rally. It was a states' rights rally, Rachel Simmel, a Bevin spokesman, said Rachel Simmel, a Bevin spokeswoman. But the event's organizer told the Corbin News-Journal that the sole purpose of the rally was to gain support for the legalization. But the event's organizer told the Corbin News-Journal that the sole purpose of the rally was to gain support for the legislation to legalize cockfighting in Kentucky. The newspaper reported that about 700 losers showed up and attended this event. The movement is about changing the law, not breaking the law, said David Devereaux, director of the American Game Fowl Defense Network. It kind of sounds like he'd be defending game fowl, but apparently he likes killing them, or he gets his rocks off on watching them kill each other. Devereaux, who lives in Washington State, didn't return calls to his cell phone seeking comment, but in an electronic message said the event was held for the purpose of unifying and uniting game fowl enthusiasts around the principle of using the democratic process to change the law. In cockfighting, two birds outfitted with sharpened spurs are tossed in a ring where they fight to the death. Spectators bet on the birds. Michael Merkerin, president of the Humane Society of the United States Legislative Fund, said cockfighting is illegal in all 50 states and is a felony in 41. He said it's a brutal sport in which people will sometimes suck the blood out of an injured Sorry about this. Will sometimes suck the blood out of a bird's throat and lungs to allow them to keep fighting. It's a misdemeanor in Kentucky to take part in a cockfight and is punishable by up to a year in jail. Craig Davis, president of the United Game Fowl Breeders Association, also attended the event. He said the issue of states' rights was discussed, but cockfighting was definitely a part of it. He directed further questions to Devereaux. It's the second time that cockfighting has made its way into the Senate race. In February, Davis told the Lexington Herald leader that his group would destroy Mitch McConnell because he supported the federal farm bill. That bill, in addition to setting agricultural policy and appropriating money for federal subsidy programs, also made it a federal crime punishable by a year in jail and a $100,000 fine to attend a cockfight or a dogfight. The farm bill also makes it a crime punishable by 3 years in jail and a $250,000 fine to take a child to a cockfight or a dogfight. Well, anybody who goes to one as a child, but Bevin refused to take a position on cockfighting, saying through Simmel only that it should be left up to states. When the farm bill passed in February, Bevin criticized McConnell for supporting it, but in a news release issued at the time, didn't mention the cockfighting component as a reason he opposed the measure. Markerin criticized Bevin for attending the event, saying that he has sided with lawbreakers. There are a handful of states where the penalties are very weak, but a small but vocal group of cockfighters continues to engage in illegal activity, Markerin said, but most politicians have left them behind. Bevin's campaign wouldn't provide information about who invited him to speak at the event or provide emails or letters suggesting the event was a broader states' rights event rather than one geared solely towards legalizing cockfighting. Rhonda Moore, the box office manager at the Corbin Arena, said it had been rented out by the Kentucky Gamefowl Breeders Association. In a statement, Simmel said Matt spoke to a large gathering of folks at a states' rights rally this weekend where he introduced himself to many eastern Kentucky voters and encouraged those with widespread McConnell fatigue that he is the best option to represent Kentucky and Washington. Okay, that's the end of the article. Now, my commentary. I will throw you out of the group if I find out you raise game fowl to fight or to sell people that fight. I've had people, I've already kicked them out that said, well, I've raised them and I breed them and I train them. What people do with them after they buy them, they can't control that. Well, yeah, you can. Don't breed the fucking things. Bevin will not come out and say if he is for or against cockfighting. Cockfighting is animal abuse. They strap metal spurs, sharpened metal spurs that slip over the real spurs of the bird. These spurs penetrate birds in the chest and back areas a lot, and the head, 2 to 3 inches. Sometimes they jazz it up a little bit. Instead of the spurs, they strap on razor blades. That makes it real fun. Blood just flies in. Big gashes in the birds. Oh, it's great. It's great. These guys whip out their little dicks and start beating off to it. And yeah, they take their kids to it too. Sometimes to train the birds, they even got little boxing gloves they can put over the spurs. And I've seen them do it. I've seen a bird knock another bird out with a boxing glove. And it takes a minute or so, and the bird will finally stand up and stagger around a little bit, and he's ready to fight again. Well, it is animal abuse. It's just like dog fighting. And won't have any part of that in my group. And anybody from Kentucky, I would suggest don't vote for Matt Bevin. Find another candidate. I don't care who it is. But this little dick wants to go to things like this. I don't want no part of it. And I will put on my 17,000 member chicken group that I don't like him and that I don't think anybody else should vote for him. Feel free to contact any of the people I mentioned. And tell them what you think. You know, I'm not afraid to do it. I'll post this publicly, and it's going on YouTube. It's going on Facebook. And anyone want to contact me? I live in Louisville, Kentucky. My name's Scott Stingle. I'm easy to find. Just let me know. I'll meet you. We'll discuss it. And that's really all I got to say, folks. But yeah, you know, I'm ashamed of my state, and especially the illiterate fucks out there in Eastern Kentucky that still do this shit. It's pretty pathetic. Pretty goddamn pathetic. Thanks for listening, guys.